All right, let's talk about Formula One. This isn't just racing, it's the absolute peak of motorsport, a place where insane drama, mind bending technology, and pure human guts all slam together at over 200 miles an hour. To really get a feel for the kind of precision we're talking about, you have to hear how champ Nelson Piquet described racing in Monaco. Just let that sink in for a second. Riding a bicycle in your living room. Now imagine your bicycle is a multi-million-dollar rocket, and your walls are solid steel barriers just inches away. That is the knife edge these drivers live on every single lap. And that kind of intensity, it's not just in Monaco. The battlegrounds of F1 are so diverse and so demanding, each one is a completely unique test for both the driver and the car. So you've basically got two different kinds of arenas. On one side, you have these beautiful, purpose-built circuits. Think of a legendary track like Spa in Belgium, with these huge, sweeping corners and just a natural, amazing rhythm. They are built for pure racing. But then you have the street circuits. They take public roads in places like Vegas and turn them into these tight, brutal, concrete canyons where there is zero, and I mean zero, room for error. A totally different challenge, and it takes a totally different kind of driver to master it. But here's the thing about F1. It isn't just about the tracks or the tech. What really makes it a global phenomenon are the human stories, the raw, personal battles for glory. And trust me, no story is more legendary than this one. Okay, you can't talk about F1 drama without talking about Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. In 1988, Senna grabs his first world title, but that just wasn't enough for him. He had to be seen as the absolute best, period. And that admission, it basically lit the fuse on what became the most iconic and most bitter rivalry the sport has ever seen. And that fuse just completely exploded during the 1989 season. These guys weren't just rivals, they were teammates. And their relationship just fell apart after a bunch of on-track fights. There was a scary near miss in Portugal, a broken promise in San Marino that completely shattered any trust they had. Suddenly, every single race was a psychological war. It wasn't just competition anymore, it was personal. So this wasn't just another fight for a championship. The sheer intensity of it was broadcast all over the world, which really makes you wonder, what was the real impact of this rivalry on Formula One itself? Well, the Prost-Senna war completely captivated people on a whole new level. It turned Formula One into this must-see TV show, a real-life soap opera on wheels that was about so much more than just who crossed the finish line first. This basically created the blueprint for modern sports entertainment. It proved that the stories, the human drama, were every bit as powerful as the engineering. Absolutely. Empowering all that incredible human drama, some of the most sophisticated machines on the entire planet. But that technology is never standing still. It's this constant, relentless battle between innovation and regulation, a true technological arms race that really defines the sport. What's so fascinating here is this constant push and pull you see over the years. Back in '94, the rule makers stepped in and banned electronic aids like traction control. They said, nope, let's put more control back in the driver's hands. Then flash forward to 2009, and they're changing the rules again, this time limiting engine RPMs to try and spark more overtaking. And of course, the huge shakeup in 2022 when they brought back ground effect aerodynamics, all in the name of one thing: closer, more exciting racing. So to really get why those 2022 changes were such a massive deal, we have to talk about something called dirty air. For decades, this was the absolute enemy of good racing. Think about it like this. The car in front is punching a hole through the air, right? But it leaves behind all this turbulent, messy air. If you're the car behind, driving into that mess completely wrecks your aerodynamic grip, making it incredibly hard to follow close enough to even try to overtake. And this is where it all comes together. Those 2022 rules, the ones built around ground effect, were a direct attack on that dirty air problem. It's kind of brilliant, really. They used technology to solve a problem that technology had created in the first place. And the whole point was to get more wheel-to-wheel, heart-in-your-throat drama back on the track. So you have this intense human drama, and this constantly evolving, ridiculously complex machine. The true legends of Formula One, they're the ones who can master both. The ones who find that perfect harmony between their own skill and the tech right at their fingertips. And that, of course, brings us to the titans of the modern era. I mean, you have the sheer, relentless consistency of Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton, both with a staggering 7 world championships. And then there's the raw, aggressive, and fearless talent of Max Verstappen, who has completely carved out his own era of dominance. These are the guys who didn't just drive the machine, they became one with it.
But the amazing thing about Formula One is that the story is always being written. History isn't something that's just in the past. We're already seeing a new generation rising up, with drivers like Lando Norris finally getting to the top step of the podium. It just proves that the hunger for glory is constant, and the fight to be the best never, ever stops.
Which, of course, leaves us with the ultimate question. As the cars keep changing, as a whole new wave of talent storms the grid, who has what it takes? Who is going to master the speed, the rivalry, and the technology to become the next undisputed legend of Formula One? The race is always on.